Sussex Police and Crime Commissioner. Hi, Katie.
Good morning, Danny.
So I think you're against this idea. Why?
For so many reasons. It was quite interesting listening to your VT there with some of people's comments. They're quite trusting in some ways. I think for me, it's too big to manage. So you mentioned that Sussex might go in with Kent and Surrey. We actually haven't, as Police and Crime Commissioners, been consulted on this, and neither has the public. So the fact that the planning for all of this has gone on behind closed doors tells me that ministers are quite nervous about how these massive changes will land. But they're also, I've heard rumours that it would be, if they did combine us in the southeast, we would be combined with Thames Valley Police, which covers Berkshire, Buckinghamshire and Oxfordshire. We'd be combined with Hampshire, which covers all of Hampshire and the Isle of Wight, Surrey, Sussex, Kent, Essex, and potentially Norfolk and Suffolk as well.
So essentially surrounding everything around London altogether.
Yeah, which is huge. I mean, London itself struggles. It's the biggest police force in the country. It's a third of all policing is in London. And they have struggled repeatedly year after year after year. They couldn't recruit enough officers. So we actually benefited from that in Sussex because our team worked so hard, we over-recruited and got the payment for that. They're poor on knife crime. Their homicide rates aren't very good. You know, everything that they talk about this is going to solve, actually, you only have to look at the Met to see that it doesn't work. And if you look further afield at the Netherlands, they merged their police forces about 10 years ago. And they've had very mixed performance results from it. They didn't get an improvement in efficiency. They didn't get that local presence. And that, for me, is the critical bit. You know, when I talk to residents, they want things. The people that live in the 62% of the rural area of Sussex tell me crime matters to them as much as it does in the towns and the cities. And they're right. But, you know, if all the resourcing and all the people and the funding follows these big super forces, the decisions are going to be made to follow the big crimes. You heard that, serious organised crime, counter-terrorism and so on. You're not going to get anybody looking at your local crimes because those decisions will be made to follow the big stuff and the funding will follow that.
Do we need, though, 43 chief constables?
No, I totally agree. We don't. And actually, you could look at flattening the structure of policing. You could take out a couple of the ranks, the chief ranks, so chief superintendent, chief inspector ranks. So you could look at actually flattening the structures if this is what they want to do about saving money. But also, you know, the shared technology, shared procurement processes and equipment, absolutely. Great idea. But we've already set up Blue Light Commercial. We've set up the Police Digital Service, which does all the IT. And forces are already doing this and merging as much as they can with back office functions and procurement functions. So for me, you know, this is about the trust that we have in policing. People like their local bobby. They want to see a bobby on the streets. That's what they tell me all the time. If we go to a big regional force where you've got a chief constable there who's making decisions, they are going to be swayed by the super cop that they're talking of appointing, because they've just announced a national police service with a big chief constable in charge of it all. So your super cop. If your super cop says, we're going to go this way because we're going to go after counter-terrorism, serious organised crime, and all the things that really matter, your shoplifters, your rural crime issues locally will get absolutely forgotten about. Okay. And we've seen this in the Netherlands, and the police morale drop through the floor. Local officers, you really will introduce two-tier policing with this, because you'll have local police officers who are seen as second-rate citizens because all they do is neighbourhood stuff and never mind, and nobody will want to do it. And we've seen this happen in the Netherlands. We've seen it in Police Scotland. We've seen it in the Met. You know, this is not, for me, a way to actually make our policing better.
Katie, thanks for now. Katie Bourne, the Sussex